The Advantage: Why Organizational Health Trumps Everything Else in Business, by Patrick Lencioni. Picture yourself at a conference, sitting beside the CEO of one of America's most successful companies. This isn't just any ordinary business. In an industry notorious for furious customers, burned-out employees, and never-ending financial drama, this company stands out like a unicorn. For 50 years straight, they've been growing, thriving, and earning the kind of customer devotion that makes their competitors weep into their quarterly reports. And their employees? They don't just tolerate their jobs. They're genuinely excited to show up every morning. It almost seems like witchcraft. So you lean in and ask the question that's been nagging at you all day. Why, you whisper, why don't your competitors just copy what you're doing? The CEO goes quiet for a moment. When he finally answers, there's something almost sad in his voice. You know what? I honestly think they believe it's beneath them. Beneath them? What could possibly be so revolutionary, so transformative, that brilliant, highly educated leaders would dismiss it as too basic to bother with? That's the puzzle we're diving into today with Patrick Lencioni's The Advantage. For decades, Lencioni has been captivated by a single powerful insight. It started when he was just a kid, listening to his salesman father vent about the chaos inside his own company, not about the actual work, but about the dysfunction surrounding it. Years later, as a young consultant, Lencioni kept seeing the same pattern. His clients' biggest problems weren't about fancy strategies or complex finances. They were about something far more fundamentally human. He discovered that the single greatest edge any organization can possess is what he calls organizational health. And here's the kicker. Almost everyone ignores it. It's straightforward, it costs nothing, and anyone can access it. Here's what I'm promising you. By the time we're done today, you'll understand this hidden superpower. You'll see why it crushes being smart, why it matters more than raw talent, and why it outlasts any brilliant flash-in-the-pan idea. Whether you're dreaming of launching a startup, managing a team, leading a club, or just trying to get your group project to actually work, what you're about to discover will hand you a roadmap to excellence. This isn't just about boardrooms and bottom lines. It's about getting human beings to accomplish extraordinary things together. Let's jump in. The world is absolutely obsessed with being smart. In business, that translates to having the sharpest strategy, the cutting-edge technology, the most creative marketing and financial models that would make your calculus teacher proud. And Lencioni agrees. All of that matters tremendously. Being smart is your entry ticket. It's what gets you into the game in the first place. But here's the thing. Being smart is only half the story. The other half, the part that gets consistently overlooked, is being healthy. So what does organizational health actually look like? It's remarkably straightforward. Healthy organizations have virtually no political games. There's barely any confusion about priorities. Morale is sky high. Productivity is exceptional. And the best people almost never leave. When you hear that description, you're probably thinking, yeah, that sounds nice. Every leader on the planet would agree their company would be completely transformed if they could nail those things. So why don't they make it their focus? Lencioni shares a perfect little story to explain it. An old joke, possibly from I Love Lucy. Ricky walks in to find Lucy crawling around the living room floor. "What are you doing?" he asks. "Looking for my earrings," she says. "You lost them in the living room?" "No," she admits, still searching. "I lost them in the bedroom, but the lighting's way better out here." There it is. That's the whole problem in a nutshell. Most leaders would rather hunt for solutions where the visibility is better, in the comfortable world of spreadsheets, metrics, and hard data. It's predictable there. It's safe. It's concrete. They steer clear of the messy, emotional, unpredictable world of organizational health because, well, it involves uncomfortable conversations that can get awkward fast. But here's Lencioni's breakthrough discovery. All the genuine, lasting competitive advantages live in that uncomfortable, messy territory. In today's world where information flows instantly and technology evolves overnight, being smart has become ordinary. Whatever clever strategy you devise can be reverse engineered by tomorrow afternoon. But health? that's a different animal entirely. A healthy organization multiplies its intelligence. Think about it this way. Most companies already have plenty of smarts, knowledge, and experience to succeed. The real problem? Politics, confusion, and ego block them from accessing most of it. It's like owning a Ferrari, but only driving it in first gear. A healthy organization, though, taps into nearly all its collective intelligence. They actually get smarter over time, because people genuinely learn from each other, spot critical issues quickly, and bounce back from mistakes without pointing fingers. Without political games and confusion mucking things up, they can rally around solutions at lightning speed compared to their dysfunctional competitors. So if you had to pick one, being smart or being healthy, which comes first? Lencioni doesn't hesitate. Health wins every single time. A healthy organization will inevitably become smarter. The reverse? Not true at all. Smart organizations have zero natural advantage when it comes to becoming healthy. Sometimes their intelligence actually gets in the way, as brilliant people often struggle to admit flaws and learn from others. So how do we actually build this healthy organization? Lencioni breaks it down into 4 practical disciplines. This isn't a one-and-done checklist. It's an ongoing process, like nurturing a marriage or raising kids. It's a journey, and that journey starts in exactly one place, with the leadership team. Discipline 1. Build a cohesive leadership team. You simply cannot have a healthy organization if the people at the top aren't functioning as a genuine, unified team. It's exactly like a family. When the parents' relationship is broken, everyone in the house feels it. Dysfunction at the top inevitably trickles down and infects everything below it. But what actually makes a real team? The word gets thrown around so casually, it's almost meaningless now. Most leadership groups, Lencioni argues, aren't actually teams at all. They're what he calls working groups. A working group is like a golf team. Each player heads off, plays their own round, and at day's end, you just add up the scores. Sure, they might wear matching polos, but they're not really playing together. A genuine team is like basketball. They're on the court together, in real time. They pass, they screen for each other, they're constantly communicating. Their success is completely intertwined. Becoming an actual team requires a conscious choice. It demands sacrifice. And to pull it off, a leadership team needs to master 5 fundamental behaviors. Lencioni famously laid these out in the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and they form the bedrock of organizational health. Picture them as a pyramid. You can't reach the top without building a solid foundation. The foundation, the absolute bottom layer, is trust. But not the kind you're probably thinking of. This isn't predictive trust, where you know someone will deliver on their promises. That matters, sure, but it's not the foundation we need. The trust required here is vulnerability-based trust. This happens when team members feel completely comfortable being open, honest, and exposed with each other. It's when they can say things like, "I messed that up," "I'm struggling here," "Your approach is better than mine," or "I apologize," and truly mean every word. When everyone knows that nobody's hiding their mistakes or weaknesses, they forge a deep and uncommon connection. They stop wasting energy on political games and managing perceptions. How do you create this? It starts small. Lencioni uses a simple exercise called personal histories. He has team members answer a few non-threatening questions about their lives. Where did you grow up? How many siblings? What was your toughest childhood challenge? In just 20 minutes, something magical happens. The intimidating CFO might reveal his family was so poor, they didn't have running water. And suddenly, everyone understands his careful approach to budgets. The entire team dynamic shifts. People start seeing each other as humans, not just titles. This connects to a fascinating psychological quirk called the fundamental attribution error. Sounds academic, but it's simple. We judge others by their actions, but ourselves by our intentions. Someone cuts you off in traffic? They're a jerk. You cut someone off? Well, you're rushing to an important appointment and didn't see them. We cut ourselves slack while assuming the worst about others. Building vulnerability-based trust dismantles this error. When you understand someone's story, you're more likely to attribute their annoying habits to their background or circumstances rather than malicious intent. You develop genuine empathy. And the person who absolutely must go first, who must be most vulnerable of all, the leader. If the leader won't admit mistakes and weaknesses, nobody else will either. Once you've got that trust foundation, you can tackle the next pyramid level, mastering conflict. Conflict isn't the enemy. Actually, a team that dodges conflict is in serious trouble. Lencioni isn't advocating for nasty personal attacks. He's talking about productive, ideological conflict, passionate debate around important issues. When trust exists, conflict becomes simply a collective search for truth. It's everyone working together to find the best possible answer. Without trust, conflict is just politics, a battle to win an argument. Most teams exist in what Lencioni calls artificial harmony. They smile and nod in meetings, even when they disagree, terrified of the discomfort that comes with honest debate. But by dodging that temporary discomfort, they create a much bigger disaster. Unspoken disagreements fester into resentment and political maneuvering. Even worse, by not testing ideas through passionate debate, they make terrible decisions. The leader's job is to mine for conflict, to gently insist that people voice their real opinions, and remind them in the moment that this healthy debate is actually good for the team. When a team can engage in healthy conflict, they unlock the third behavior, achieving commitment. This isn't about consensus. Waiting for everyone to agree is a guaranteed recipe for mediocrity and paralysis. Commitment means that even people who disagreed during the debate leave the room with a clear, unified decision, fully bought into the chosen path. The motto is simple: if you don't weigh in, you can't buy in. People don't need to get their way to feel committed. They just need to know their voice was genuinely heard and their perspective was seriously considered. When they've had that opportunity, they can enthusiastically support a decision, even if it wasn't their first choice. Without this, you get passive agreement. Leaders nod during the meeting, then return to their desks and do exactly nothing to support the decision. They quietly wait for it to fail, so they can eventually say, "I told you so." This passive sabotage is deadly. The only way to prevent it is demanding conflict and debate up front, ensuring everyone gets to weigh in before the final call. At the end of every meeting, cohesive teams clarify exactly what was decided and what everyone is committing to execute. This naturally leads to the fourth behavior, embracing accountability. On exceptional teams, the primary source of accountability isn't the leader, it's each other. It's peer-to-peer accountability. Team members willingly call each other out when someone's actions are counterproductive or when they don't deliver on commitments. This might be the toughest behavior of all. Most of us absolutely hate confronting our peers. But on a cohesive team, it's not perceived as a personal attack. It's simply a friendly reminder to a teammate who's drifted off course. It's only possible because everyone already committed to the decision. You can't hold someone accountable for something they never genuinely bought into. The leader's role here is crucial but somewhat ironic. The leader must be willing to be the ultimate accountability enforcer. If the team sees the leader avoiding difficult conversations, they won't step up either. The more willing a leader is to hold people accountable, the less they'll actually need to, because the team will start policing itself. Finally, at the pyramid's peak, is focusing on results. The ultimate purpose of building trust, mastering conflict, achieving commitment, and embracing accountability is actually accomplishing what the team set out to do. The ultimate measure of a great team is whether it achieves its collective goals. On cohesive teams, the goals are shared. Nobody can say, "Well, I did my part. Not my fault we failed." The team wins together or loses together. This requires a profound mindset shift. Lencioni calls it focusing on team number one. For any executive on a leadership team, their first team, team number one, isn't the department they manage, It's the leadership team they're part of. They must prioritize the needs of the greater organization over their own department's interests. When this happens, departmental silos crumble and decisions get made for the collective good. That's the first discipline, building a cohesive team that trusts each other, engages in healthy conflict, commits to decisions, holds each other accountable, and focuses on collective results. This is the engine that powers organizational health. Discipline 2. Create clarity. Once you've got a cohesive team, their first critical mission is achieving total alignment. They need to eliminate every trace of ambiguity around 6 simple but crucial questions. Even a tiny bit of confusion at the leadership level becomes an absolute blizzard for everyone below. This is where countless companies go wrong. They try creating alignment with a mission statement. Lencioni has a field day mocking these generic, jargon-stuffed statements that are so vague they could literally belong to any company. He even references Dunder Mifflin's mission statement from The Office and points out how disturbingly similar it sounds to real ones. Clarity doesn't come from a clever slogan. It emerges when a leadership team wrestles with and genuinely agrees on answers to these 6 questions. Question 1. Why do we exist? This is about core purpose. It needs to be completely idealistic. All organizations exist to make people's lives better somehow. The answer isn't about making money. That's just a success indicator. This is the fundamental, aspirational reason for existing. For Southwest Airlines, it was to, quote, democratize the skies, making air travel accessible to everyone, not just wealthy people. This idealistic purpose becomes the ultimate compass for every decision. Question 2. How do we behave? This is about core values, but not those endless generic lists plastered on office walls. A company should have only 2 or 3 core values. These aren't aspirational values, what you wish you were, but inherent traits so central to your identity that you'd willingly be punished for upholding them. Lencioni tells a story about an airline whose core value was humor. A customer complained to the CEO that a flight attendant was joking during the safety demonstration. Most CEOs would apologize profusely. This CEO wrote back 3 words, "We'll miss you." That's a real core value. It attracts the right people and naturally repels the wrong ones. Question 3. What do we do? This is the opposite of the first question. It's a simple, unglamorous, 1-sentence description of your business that your grandmother could grasp. No buzzwords, no flowery language. Just a straightforward explanation of what the organization actually does. This prevents confusion and keeps everyone grounded. Question 4. How will we succeed? This is your strategy. Lencioni simplifies this complex topic by distilling it into 3 strategic anchors. These are the 3 fundamental pillars that guide every decision and differentiate you from competitors. For a company, it might be 1. Product superiority, 2. In-store execution, and 3. Predictable financial performance. Every major decision, from acquisitions to new product launches, gets filtered through these 3 anchors. It provides incredible focus and consistency. Question 5. What is most important right now? This is the cure for organizational attention deficit disorder. Most companies have way too many top priorities, which actually means they have none. A healthy organization must have a single top priority for a defined period, usually between 3 and 12 months. Lencioni calls this the thematic goal, or the rallying cry. It's the one thing that, if achieved, will make the biggest impact. It creates urgency and laser focus, similar to firefighters or emergency room doctors responding to a crisis. When there's a clear and present rallying cry, departmental silos and political games evaporate. Everyone focuses on the same target. For an IT department with a damaged reputation, the thematic goal might be restore our credibility with the rest of the company. Question 6. Who must do what? This is about crystal clear roles and responsibilities. Even on the most cohesive team, there needs to be obvious division of labor at the top. Taking a few minutes to ensure everyone knows exactly who owns what prevents gaps, overlaps, and unnecessary turf wars. When a leadership team has clear, aligned answers to these 6 questions, they capture them in a simple document, a playbook, that guides every decision they make. Discipline 3. Over-communicate clarity. Now, having the answers is one thing, but if they just sit in a binder collecting dust, they're completely worthless. The next discipline is communicating those answers over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. There's a theory that employees need to hear a message 7 times before they actually believe it. Leaders often resist this. They feel like broken records, or they get bored repeating themselves. But repetition isn't about delivering new information. It's about demonstrating genuine commitment and seriousness. Great leaders see themselves as chief reminding officers. The most powerful way to do this is through cascading communication. After every leadership meeting, team members immediately meet with their direct reports and share the exact same clear messages about what was decided. Those direct reports then do the same with their teams. When an employee in Australia hears the exact same message from her manager that her colleague in Germany just heard from his, a powerful sense of alignment is created. It's far more effective than any polished newsletter or company-wide email. Discipline 4. Reinforce clarity. Finally, to make clarity stick permanently, you need to weave it into the organization's fabric. Leaders must ensure that every human system, every process involving people, is designed to reinforce the answers to those 6 critical questions. This is about institutionalizing culture without creating soul-crushing bureaucracy. It starts with hiring. You must hire for cultural fit first. Skills can be taught. Values cannot. A simple, consistent process should be used across the entire organization to screen for core values alignment. It continues with orientation. A new employee's first few days are incredibly influential. Instead of drowning them in benefits paperwork, orientation should be an immersive dive into the 6 critical questions, reinforcing exactly why they were hired and what the organization stands for. It extends to performance management. The system for reviewing employees should be straightforward and focused on reinforcing organizational goals and values, not just a bureaucratic exercise to avoid lawsuits. And it touches everything, including rewards and recognition. Compensation should align with performance and behaviors that support the company's clarity. But more powerful than money is recognition. A sincere, heartfelt thank you or public acknowledgement often motivates more than any bonus. Even firing becomes a tool for reinforcing clarity. In healthy organizations, people are let go not just for poor performance but for being a poor cultural fit. Letting a high-performing but culturally toxic person go sends a crystal clear message. We're serious about who we are. And at the center of all 4 disciplines holding everything together is one critical activity: meetings. Bad meetings are where unhealthy organizations are born. Lencioni says if he could observe only one thing to judge a company's health, he'd watch the leadership team in a meeting. This is where everything happens, where trust builds, where conflict emerges, where commitment forms, and where clarity is created and communicated. The reason most meetings are awful is because we throw everything into one giant meeting stew. We mix tactical updates with strategic brainstorming and administrative housekeeping, then wonder why it's mind-numbingly boring and unproductive. The solution is having different types of meetings for different purposes. A quick daily check-in for administrative updates. A weekly tactical staff meeting focused on progress toward goals. An ad hoc topical meeting to deep dive into a single strategic issue. And a quarterly off-site review to step back and examine the big picture. When you separate these conversations, each one becomes more focused, more effective, and honestly even enjoyable. Because this is where the real leadership work happens. It's where a group of individuals becomes a team, and where that team builds an organization with the ultimate competitive advantage: health. When you first encounter the ideas in the advantage, it's tempting to have the same reaction as those CEOs Lencioni mentioned earlier. You might think it's too simple. Build a cohesive team, create clarity, over-communicate, reinforce. It sounds like common sense, and it absolutely is. But as this saying goes, common sense isn't always common practice. The brilliance of Patrick Lencioni's work isn't that he invented some radical new theory. It's that he took the timeless, fundamental truths about human collaboration and organized them into a simple, practical, powerful framework. He gave us language and a roadmap for something we all intuitively feel but often struggle to articulate. What strikes me most about this book is how profoundly human it is. This isn't a book about business in the abstract sense of spreadsheets and pie charts. It's a book about people. It's about the very real pain of working in a place riddled with politics and confusion, and the profound fulfillment that comes from being part of a team that's aligned, focused, and working together toward a shared purpose. Lencioni reminds us that an organization is fundamentally a human system, and like any human system, a family, a friendship, a sports team, its health is the prerequisite for success. You can assemble all the talent in the world on a basketball team, but if the players don't trust each other, if they chase personal stats instead of team wins, they'll lose to a less talented but more cohesive opponent every single time. The same principle holds true in business and in life. The most powerful and perhaps most challenging lesson here is about vulnerability. In a world that often rewards projecting strength and hiding weakness, Lencioni tells us that the foundation of all exceptional teamwork is the courage to be vulnerable, to admit mistakes, to ask for help, to be genuinely human in front of our peers. This represents a profound shift in thinking, and it's the key that unlocks everything else. So what can you actually take away from this today? How can you apply this right now, even if you're not running a company? First, you can start by changing how you perceive teams. The next time you're working on a group project or collaborating with colleagues, ask yourself, are we actually a team or just a working group? Do we trust each other enough for honest conversations? Are we all genuinely committed to the same goal? You can be the person who starts building that trust and clarity, even in small ways. Second, you can practice creating a rallying cry. Whether for yourself or a small group, identify the one thing that matters most right now. What's the single goal that, if you achieve it in the next few months, will make the biggest difference? This simple act of focusing can bring incredible clarity and energy to any project. Ultimately, The Advantage is a profoundly hopeful book. It tells us that greatness isn't reserved for the brilliant, the lucky, or the well-connected. It's available to anyone with the discipline and courage to focus on what truly matters. Becoming healthy. It's a messy, ongoing, sometimes difficult journey. But as Lencioni makes abundantly clear, it's the most rewarding journey a leader can take, and it leaves the most lasting legacy. That was a summary of The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni. We've covered the core ideas today, but I'll be straight with you. A summary is like looking at photographs of an amazing meal. You can see what's there, but you can't actually taste it. The real magic happens when you read the book yourself. It's in those quiet moments, when a particular story or simple phrase connects with your own experience in an unexpected way. This summary is designed to help you decide if this book deserves your time. If anything we've explored today resonated with you, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning. It's an experience that can genuinely transform how you see leadership and teamwork. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this journey valuable, please show your support by liking this summary and subscribing to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep growing together.